welcome back to Planet Dirt. Today we are going to be going through seeds and writing things down, and I already realized that I left my notebook in the greenhouse, so I'll be right back. Alright, here we go. So I just did a garden tour video and it was great, and I made note of a lot of different things, and I went over this a little bit in the video, but just as an FYI. So I don't generally use my garden journal. I have a garden journal. I have several. If you're a gardener, you have several that you just have accumulated over the years, right? I don't generally use it as the things that it's meant to be for, at least according to the people who make them, right? So this one I got from that 1870s homestead, I think. They put this one together, and I like it because it's big and it is really well laid out and everything. But when you organize your space, everyone's spaces are different. And so if you have certain things that you like to put up every single year and you know you're gonna need them, like this one makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you you're harvesting and you want to remember that you harvested 5 of some type of pumpkin and you were able to preserve however many, cans of salsa or whatever, because that's what you need for the year or whatever, this one makes a lot of sense. I don't garden like that, but I still find this one useful because I use the pages in a different way. So basically, I ignore the headers and I go through the garden, and this time I started in the greenhouse, and I just periodically will make note of things that are doing really well, things that surprised me, impressed me, and then things that are not doing well and I'm probably not going to grow that again. So the big examples of that is I just went into the greenhouse and we did a garden tour together. That'll come out this week because it's August, y'all. It is, oh my gosh, it is past mid-summer. It's crazy how fast this growing season has gone by for me. But I took that opportunity during that garden tour to go through and note which ones were doing well. I somehow ended up with a cherry tomato in my greenhouse, which is a big no-no because cherry tomatoes are insanely fast growing. They are a giant weed, in my opinion. I like bigger cherry tomatoes, like actual cherry tomatoes. Those ones are like tiny. They're like this big. And they're cute and all, but it's like, unless you're out there snacking on them, what do you really use them for? They're kind of too small to do any substantive cooking with them. I guess they can go in fresh salads or something like that, but I don't know. It demands a lot of thought and a very specific use, and that's not the kind of cook that I am. That's not the kind of gardener that I am. That was a mistake. I'm not sure how it got in there. But that's a good reminder of why I don't do that. Also in that greenhouse, we have a dwarf tomato variety, and it's called, oh, I probably have it. Oh, I can just show you. See? I don't have to like fumble around for it later. Oh, this is the little red pear tomato that's growing outside. I was wondering which one that was. Anyway, that one's doing really cool things out there. It looks very cool. Banana legs. Do I really not have the pack? Oh, I do. I passed it. Okay. This bad boy. So it is, I can't pronounce that. This one is a dwarf indeterminate, and I should have known better, because if you look at where things are typically grown and then compare their climate to yours, you can usually tell whether or not it's going to do well in your area. Like, I can't grow English cucumbers here because we are hot and dry, and those are two things that is not in England, is hot and dry. And so they just don't do well here. They're not meant to grow here. This one is from New Zealand, and the plant is fine. The plant is very cute. It's an adorable looking tomato, but it is not very prolific. The fruit is pretty good. I mean, it's decent size. It's nothing to like write home about. It's not like a hunk or anything like that. But every single one that I have let ripen on the vine has split. So I have picked a couple. I've only gotten 5 off of 2 plants. 2 of these, and I've gotten 5. And it's August, y'all. That's not very many. So I picked a couple before they ripened, and I took them inside, and they were fine. They were fine. It tastes pretty good. But that's a pretty finicky tomato, if you ask me. So I don't know if I'm going to be growing that one again, and that is one thing that I'm going to note in here. While I was going through, I did grow some Romas. They have not started producing yet because I started them about 4 weeks, I think, later than everything else that I started. And so if I don't get any Romas by the end of this month, I am going to make a note that I need to do something else, or start them way earlier. I don't know what I'm doing with my life with those. So I'm not going to grow the where oh Kawaii. So I'm not going to grow that one again, probably. It is a dwarf variety, and like I said, it is a very adorable plant. And so if I have like room in grow bags or something, once I finish making my plan for next year, then maybe I'll grow it, because I do have extra seeds. But I'm definitely not going to grow that one in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is prime real estate, right? I'm only trying to grow the things that I really, really want to do well, and I'll be very sad if they don't do well in the greenhouse. And with that one, I won't be sad if it doesn't do well. So that's a no for next year. So a little background. The reason why I am doing this right now is because I'm sure many people have heard by now that MI Gardener is doing their end of summer 40% off sale. They always do a huge sale at the end of the season, or towards the middle end of the season, because they're basically trying, all the seed companies are trying to clear out their inventory for the next season's inventory. So how it works with seeds is whoever you get your seeds from, they're only allowed to grow seeds, or they're only allowed to sell seeds that are from the previous season's crops. So these were from 2024. They were packed for 2024, sale in 2024, so sale last year. And that means that it grew in the summer of 2023, was harvested at the end of that year, middle end of that year, and then was packaged for sale. Whoever the seed supplier is, they are not allowed to sell old seed, even though it's usually good. You're only allowed to keep it on hand for, I think it's 12 months, but it's like dependent upon when it's shipped to you and harvested and all those things. Anyway, they can't sell old seed. And so MA Gardner's having their super crazy 40% off at the end of the season sale, like a lot of other places are going to be doing soon if they are not already. And while that is a wonderful time to get all of your seeds, and I highly encourage you to do so if you can, I am having to be very, very picky about when I buy seeds this year and what I buy. So usually I just make a list and I'm like, I want determinate tomatoes, and then I go have fun looking at all the different types of determinate tomatoes and I pick a few that sound good. And then I try them, and then like I said, if they turn out lovely, then like, oh my gosh, where is it? This bad boy, oh my gosh, best tomato, I swear. Oh, it's a semi-determinate. Oh, that's why I've gotten several flushes. I thought this one was a determinate. Anyway, San Marzano. This one is so insanely prolific. It's crazy, and it tastes delicious, and I'm very excited about that one. Anyway, so things like this, I just picked it because it said semi-determinate, and I know I can't grow fully indeterminate tomatoes in my greenhouse because they run out of space. So I searched by determinate. I came up with this bad boy, which I will not be growing again, but then I also got this bad boy, which I will be growing again. So it has to do with your climate, what you're looking for, how much of it you eat, whether you're preserving it, whether you're, using it fresh and what you're using it for. It's going to all depend on what you actually want to grow. But what has happened is the point of this giant rambling is that I recently lost my job. I was a part of the massive federal layoffs that have happened this year. So while I was not technically a federal employee, I worked for a federal contractor, and the contracts that I was working on were terminated without cause, and it is what it is. So I lost my job, which means that, one, I have a lot of time to garden and spend with you guys, but it also means that I have to get a lot more creative when picking seeds and actually doing ordering and all of that stuff. I have to be a lot more picky. I'm not allowed to just do whatever I want and order whatever I want because my husband's carrying us right now, and God love him for doing that, but I'm not trying to go overboard. And so I thought that today would be a really good day, since MI Gardner is having that sale. I thought it would be a really good day to, one, take a seed inventory, see what I am actually out of, and know that I want to grow next year, and see if it's even on sale. Because the thing about MI Gardner is they have really, really good deals, which means that they sell out of things pretty darn quickly, unfortunately. So I am going to go through all of my seeds and then go over my list and make sure that I have the things that I really, really, really know that I want to grow. So at the top of that, I'm starting with my tomatoes because that's where I started in the greenhouse, and they're kind of the heart of the garden. They really are. Everyone grows tomatoes. Even if they don't love tomatoes, people still grow tomatoes. Tomatoes and zucchini, I think, are like the most common ones, right? So I have a bunch of Romas. I still have a bunch of slicers. I have some Cherokee purples. So the ones that I'm most concerned about, like most of these have like 25 seeds in them, right? These are not the ones that I'm necessarily concerned about because I have had these for 1 or 2 years, and so there's no way that I've gone through 25 seeds. But some of them, the fancier ones, oh look, the one that I'm not growing again next year, this one only has 10 seeds in it. And so, I'm sorry if it's loud, y'all. Apparently, I chose to do this right as people were getting off of work. So this one only has 10 seeds in it. And so if I were going to grow it next year, I would just want to open it up, make sure. I do still have about 5 or 6 seeds in here, which is enough for a season. So even if I was growing it next year, I would be totally fine. So I just wanted to go through and make sure that the ones that I know that I want to grow, San Marzano, this bad boy, it's gonna make me some sauce this year, y'all. That one is gonna make me some sauce. Rio Grande. I haven't gotten any of these yet. I have, I think, 1 or 2 plants outside, and I did get. There are a couple on the plant. So the ones that I put outside are about 3 to 4 weeks behind what's in the greenhouse in terms of growing time, because the greenhouse, it's covered. If it gets close to a frost, it's totally fine. So I plant things out 3 to 4 weeks earlier in the greenhouse than I do outside. I did have the water walls this year, which helped by a couple of weeks, but I was still late to putting things out because it was a busy time. It was just a busy time of year. And so things didn't happen at the exact right time that I wanted them to. Oh, so this was something that made me sad this year. So I ran out last year, and this is why I'm doing this, because I forgot. So mushroom basket, this one is not prolific at all, right? But it tastes so darn good, and it is such a unique look. I mean, look at that. It's like a pink color. It's not like a vibrant red. It's like a dark pink, and it tastes amazing. And I don't have any this year because I did not mark it down in my journal that I needed to grow them, unfortunately. So that is one note I'm going to make. So I have a no list up here, and I have a yes list. So in my yes list, I'm going to put mushroom basket, and I'm just going to put a little check mark next to it if I do have the seed. And if I don't have the seed, then I'm going to draw a little circle next to it, which means I need to order some or just be sad that I don't have it. But I'm not going to forget about it, is the thing. Even if I don't have the money to go buying a bunch of seeds, I'm still going to make sure, because I'm sure I'll find a job in the next year, right? Fingers crossed. The tides will turn, as they always do. And so I don't want to forget that variety exists, and that I really did like it. So mushroom basket, and then what was the other one? It's called like mortgage lifter or something like that. That one was also really good. I'm completely that one. I'll have to, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that one up and make sure that that's even the name of it, because I don't actually remember what the name of it is. So no cherry tomatoes in the greenhouse. No Werawakawai one. I definitely want to grow mushroom baskets, mortgage lifters. Roma is a question mark right now because I haven't gotten any. But if it's anything like the San Marzano, honestly, the San Marzano produced early and it's producing consistent. And it is completely, I'm really impressed with that one. It is completely ignoring all of the pests. So that the other one that I was talking about earlier, it has pest damage if you leave it on the plant and let it ripen on the plant. And so you have to pull it early or it splits and then it gets a bunch of pest damage. The San Marzanos are right next to it. It's not like they're in a different part of the yard or anything. They're right next to it, and they come out absolutely perfect every single time. No bug damage. no splitting, no nothing. Same with the banana legs tomatoes. That one also tastes really good, zero splitting. That's actually, those are the two, the San Marzano and the banana legs. Those are the two that I made the salsa with the other day. And it was so funny because it didn't really look like a normal salsa because I used so many yellow tomatoes. I think I used like half and half San Marzano and banana legs. And so it was like half yellow tomatoes in it. So it turned out like this orangish color, but it tasted so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So anyway, that's all of that to say, if the Roma is similar to the San Marzano, which I've heard that they are, if I get some Romas and it's similar to the San Marzano, I'm just not going to grow Romas and I'm just going to grow San Marzanos, because if they do better, they produce earlier, they produce more. I have already pulled 2 full freezer gallon bags of tomatoes off of just the banana legs and the San Marzanos, and there's still a ton green on those plants, and I think there's only 4 plants. It's not like there's a ton of plants in there or anything like that. So if they're similar, I know one grows better, I'm gonna grow that one. It produces earlier, produces more. There's no point in growing the other one. So that is the plan. So San Marzano is a yes, and I do have the seed. Banana legs is a yes, and I do have the seed. And then while I was going around, I do know that I also need to look at my peppers, my cucumbers, and my summer and winter squash. So when you're doing seed inventories, I have a giant photo organizer full of seeds, right? This is why I'm like trying to be very diligent about what I actually need versus what I just want to buy, because I want to buy all the seeds so that I can try all the seeds, right? But I have a ton, and I really want to go through and be diligent about what I actually really know I want and works well. So in the next couple of weeks, I am going to, I have some brassicas, right? And some kale. Is kale a brassica? I don't think it is. It's a lettuce, right? I don't know. So I have kale, spinach, brassicas. I'm going to be starting for the fall garden in the next couple of weeks. Actually, probably in the next couple of days. It'll probably be by the end of this week. So I do have some plans of what's going on in that. I'm going to hold off on those and looking into those until I see how much space I have and all that kind of stuff. Because honestly, I don't really have the best luck with brassicas. I can get some types of kale to grow. I think I've had like the blue leaf kale do pretty well. I do really love Swiss chard. It grows beautifully here. So again, where does Swiss chard usually grow? In the south, where it's hot. It's hot, and it's hot here, so it grows well. So as long as you water it, it's fine. So I'm going to focus on the things where I would be so sad if these were not in my garden next year. That's what I'm really worried about. And then if the tides change in the next few months and I'm able to afford it, then at that time I will reevaluate and order some, super fun seeds and things that, I really want to experiment with or am excited about. So, oh, I have a bunch of gray zucchinis. Okay, awesome. So gray zucchini, I did a succession of this because my first planting of it just didn't do well. But I really like this one. It grows not well here. It's probably user error, but it tastes so good, y'all. It's delicious. Round zucchini. This one, I'll probably just make a note, and then there's 2 seeds left in here. which might get me through next season. So this one's like if I end up having the money, then I'll add it to the list kind of a thing, but it's not super necessary. The first year I grew round zucchini, I got a couple of them, and they're so cute and little, and they taste really good. They taste like zucchini, only they're little balls instead of long tubes, right? So they're awesome, but the vine borer got my squash plant, and so I got like 2 off of it, and then the plant was just dead. So I tried growing it again this year, and a critter ate it. I had little starts. They were like this big. I put them in the ground over in my raised bed next to my garlic, because there was room next to my garlic, and that's where I put it. And then literally 2 days later, I came back and some critter had munched it off all of the leaves and munched it to the ground. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not meant to grow that one. These are my scallop squashes, and I was really afraid to grow these because in the past, and I still have plenty of seeds in here, I can feel them. Oh look, yeah, there's 20 in each, and 30 in this one. Always pay attention to the seed count when you're buying seeds, because sometimes it's like, oh, like all of these are $2, right? They're $2. That's really great for 30 seeds. It's really great for even 20 seeds. But some of them are only like 5 seeds because they're like really rare or a specialty type. And so in order to keep that same price point, they have to knock down the number of seeds, which is fine. It just is what it is. But it's a good thing to take note of when you're thinking about volume. So my scallop squashes were the traps for all of the squash bugs the first year that I grew them. And this year, I don't know what happened to my white scallop squash or my yellow scallop, but my green one is producing like crazy. I have already harvested, I just harvested 8 like 2 days ago. And I think before that I had gotten 4-ish. And so I'm getting those constantly, which is awesome because none of my other summer squash is really producing it. And this is what I'm talking about. So lemon squash, I think I have 2 seeds left in here. Lemon squash only has 10 seeds in this pack, probably because it is naturally resistant to squash bugs. So the first year I grew squash, I did a whole row of all the different kinds of squash, just like I did this year, only they got absolutely decimated by squash bugs and the vine borer. And this bad boy was the only squash in my entire garden that was still producing up until the frost. And I remember when it was about to freeze. It was like mid-October. It's usually mid to late October when it first freezes here. And it was a little early, so I want to say it was early mid-October. And I went out there and I literally had to just cut everything off of it, and I ended up with a giant basket of little lemon squashes. This one is really great. It tastes just like a zucchini. You can use it interchangeably. I make zucchini bread with this. It's delicious. Absolutely awesome. Throw it in stir fries, throw it in stews, throw it in soups, throw it in whatever. Absolutely delicious. But I loved it so much that I did let 2 of the fruits? 2 of these squashes. I let 2 of them fully ripen on the vine and harden, because summer squash will turn into winter squash usually if you let it just keep going. It will just keep getting bigger and bigger and woodier and harder. And then it's just really difficult to eat at that point. But I let it go and I saved the seed, and I got a little 4-ounce mason jar full of seeds from this one plant, because I was like, you know what, I know this one does well, and so I actually saved the seed from it. I will be doing that with a few things this year. that one, I don't always remember to order all the seeds. That's one of the reasons why I make notes and I make a list of things that I know I need to order. But it's hard to catch it all. So lemon squash was one of those things where I was like, I'm not taking any chances with this one. I want to know and make sure that I have all of the seed that I will need for literal years with this one, because it just grew so well. And the same is true this year. It's growing really well. I think this one, and it's a little shaded out, so it's not producing quite as much, but it is producing. That one, and where did it go? Oh, the crookneck. That one and the crookneck, I've gotten a couple off of, and this one's still pretty full with seeds as well. So squash is one of those things where I really like to experiment with it, because I like all the different flavors, and you can just use them for a variety of different things, and I really like the versatility of them. But like I said, this year I'm reeling it back because I have a ton of seed that I can be planting. I don't need to be experimenting with all of the other things. I should use what I have first, which is honestly just a good practice to live by anyway, so is what it is. Anyway, so I think I'm also good with winter squash, but I wanted to double check because I wanted to make sure I had enough baby pumpkins. I think I'm good with everything else because I usually get, I got a couple of acorn squash last year, and honestly, a lot of my winter squash just don't do very well, unfortunately. This year is definitely the exception. I'm very excited with how well they are looking so far. I have 3 pretty good size already pumpkins, like they're about this big. And so I'm very excited about those growing over there. But the things that do usually grow very well are my baby pumpkins, and these ones are pretty great. I did cook a couple of them. They're fine as like a little decorative, like dessert pumpkin, you know, like an individual dessert pumpkin. It definitely works for that, but I mainly just use them for decoration. I think I had a ton of these ones, and some of them were really small, and so I ended up, because I only had like 2 plants, I think, and I ended up with like 15 of these off of 2 plants. But some of them were tiny because they were at the end of the plant, and so they didn't have as much time to mature. But the smaller ones, I think for Halloween or something, I made a little tic-tac-toe game with pumpkins. Was it Halloween or Thanksgiving? I don't know. It was a fall thing. So that was fun, and I just wanted to make sure I had enough of those, and it feels like I do. Yeah, it looks like I still have 5 or so of those, and ooh, there's only 3 of these. But this is what I wanted to check. So this one, it only has 15 seeds in this packet, which is fine. That still lasts me a couple of years. I mean, it's not like, again, it's not like I have acres or anything to be planting. So we'll definitely make note of that. My cucumbers. The only cucumber I am worried about this year is the Armenian long cucumber, because I need to wait on cucumbers until I can do more research and figure out what's going to do well in my climate, because unfortunately all of my cucumbers just did not do anything for the first, I don't know, month they were out this year. They just so the Armenian long, this one, was growing well. It did fine. It was definitely growing faster than any of the other ones, and it produces these gigantic cucumbers, and I just harvested like 2 that were like this, like they were round fruits. They're like this big. I just harvested 2 of these the other day, and I made pickles, which was very exciting. And I made a cucumber and tomato salad, which was delicious. You just put super simple summer salad, very light, refreshing. You slice cucumbers and whatever tomatoes you have. I use a bunch of different kinds of tomatoes because I like having all the different flavors and like little bite-sized things. That's beside the point. So you just slice up cucumbers, dice up some tomatoes, put in, I had basil salt that I made out of the garden. So you just dry basil and make a salt out of it, herb salt out of it. And I put that in there, a little bit of vinegar to help it pickle, just a tiny bit, a little bit of water and a pinch of sugar just to help with the vinegar. So stir that up, let it sit for an hour or so, and you have a lovely, refreshing salad. So I was able to do that, and I made some pickles. They should be ready in, I think, 3 days, the recipe said. So those will be ready soon, and I'm very excited about it. But this is the only one that's produced so far. And I think I had like 4 different kinds over there. I had pickling, I had market more, and then I had muncher. And the Armenian long is the only one that has given me any cucumbers so far this year, which is crazy because it's the gigantic one. You would think that it takes way longer to make a gigantic gigantic cucumber than it would to make a small, tiny pickling cucumber. So I do have enough Armenian long seeds in here. That's what I wanted to check. And then I am going to have to do some more research before next year and figure out cucumbers that are better suited, I think, for our climate. All right, so the last one I want to go over are peppers. And the peppers, I mainly want to make sure that I have my staples because I know that I bought them a few years ago. And the staples are the sweet banana. This one has 50 seeds in it. I can feel them. There are plenty of seeds in it. Not the Cubano. Shishitos. Also a staple. There are also a lot of seeds in there. Jalapenos. Jalapeno's just a good solid pepper. You know, that's what I accidentally made the salsa a little bit too spicy. I think I put in, because it's just hard to tell with jalapenos whether they're super spicy or not. I ended up putting in 4, I think, it was a pretty big batch. It was like 2 sheet trays of tomatoes. And so I thought that like 4 would be good. That was too much for me. And so, but my husband loved it. And so I think next time I do that, because that salsa was really delicious, I'm just going to make 2 sheet trays, and I'm going to make 1 really spicy for him and 1 not spicy at all for me, because the flavor was really delicious. I ended up, pro tip, so if you ever make a salsa that is way too spicy for you, but you really like the flavor of it, my mother-in-law did this for me because I was the only baby in their entire house. They all loved spicy food and I was the only one who couldn't handle it. And so she would make me a little batch, and she would do a dollop of the salsa and then a dollop of sour cream and mix it together, and it helps like neutralize the spice and you still get that wonderful flavor. So pro tip, guys, pro tip. This one is the Sugar Rush Peach, and I'm super excited about this one. There are a ton of peppers on this plant. So I'm super stoked. I heard you can make hot sauce with it too. So I was planning on just making salsa with it. But if I have that much, I can probably make a hot sauce with it too. And I'm sure my husband would love that. My habaneros. Again, salsa for my husband, not for me. I'm a baby. And I only have 2 little seeds left. y'all, and this one is kind of old. So that one, again, I'm just noting that I'm almost out of the seed, and I'm not going to order any right now because, you know, of my unemployment situation. However, I am going to make a note of it so that if things change, if the tides turn, then I will still know what I need, and that I'm running low on. So this is the habanada, and and it looks like I have 3 seeds left, so there's only 10 seeds in here. So I'm underwhelmed, people, and if you have any pro tips, please let me know. I ordered this because I can't handle spicy things, but I've heard that this one's hardly, like barely tiny bit spicy, but it's still very fruity, like a habanero is. I wouldn't know. I've never eaten an actual habanero because I'm a baby. I can't eat spicy foods. So I wanted to try it. There were 10 seeds in here. There are 3 left. Out of those 7 seeds, I got 2 to germinate. Out of those 2 that germinated, I got 1 plant to do okay, and then I put it in my greenhouse, and it happened to be right next to the ground cherries, and it was the first casualty of the ground cherry takeover. So I tried to save it. I tried to like scoop it out and not disturb the roots very much. I tried to like scoop it and then transplant it into a different area, and it didn't make it. I was very sad about that one. So I have 3 left, but that is one that I am going to note, because if the germination rates for the other seeds are any indication, I may not get a plant out of 3 seeds. Alright. Alright. I think that's good for the peppers. Alright. I think I'm good. So, like I said, I have a giant photo organizer full of seeds. I don't need to be buying seeds, guys. This isn't like a feel sorry for me for losing my job kind of a thing. It was more like I lost my job. I need to make smarter decisions with money, because I have a lack of it right now. So I'm going through, and honestly, I'm very happy with this list. I think the only thing that I know I want to buy before next season is the mortgage lifter tomato. I have a couple of like maybes, but it's gonna depend on how they grow and turn out this season. But this was super helpful because now I know what I can get away with and what I can't. The other thing, I do know that if things change by next year, which I'm sure they will, things have changed a lot in the last 6 months, I'm sure they will continue to change. But if things change in the next 6 months, then there are some other things that I really want to spend some time researching more, and that is brassicas that are going to work better in my climate, and like with days to maturity and heat tolerance, and onions. So I saw a lady put onions in her green stalks, and I thought that was such a good idea because this year I tried to do like rounds of lettuces and stuff, and I did, but it was honestly just too much lettuce. We're not going to go through an entire green stalk full of lettuce in like a week when it's all coming up, right? Like I would have to succession sow each row, and that would just be annoying. But I do really like the green beans. Well, you can see some right here. I really like the bush beans in the green stock. So that has worked out really well. I'll definitely do that again. But I saw that this lady put onions in them, and they were really big bulbs. They looked gorgeous. And I think that's a really good idea because of the way that onions grow. They don't need a lot of space. They don't need a lot of wiggle room, right? They just like have that little shoot growing up, and because of how these are designed, that stem would literally fit right in between the tiers of the tower. So that was a really cool idea. And if I find a good variety of onion, then I would be able to grow it in the green stock and then succession plant after that some more bush beans. So I'm super excited about that. I think that's a good idea, but I do need to research some onions that are going to do well in my area, because in the past I have just bought what's there and kind of done a trial and error, which sometimes that's what gardening is, and I do understand that. But because we're in such a weird spot, I'm in northern Nevada, because we're in such a weird spot, we get hot like the south, but then we get cold because we're right next to a mountain. We get snow. It's a weird place, right? And there's no I need to find some good midday varieties instead of just playing it by ear with the other ones. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to find some options and we'll see what happens. All right. This has been super helpful. I'm glad I did this. Thank you for joining me. I hope I see you guys next time. Bye.